All right, Abe, first of all, bro, I really appreciate you doing this. I know you're a busy man. I know this all came together super last minute yesterday. You told me you were going to be in town, so I was like, man, I got to lock in with Abe and just ask him questions. And uh, so I'm glad we put it together.
Yeah, man.
Um, First of all, can you just tell everyone your name, title, what you do?
Yep, I'm Ibrahim A. Batchan, the CEO and founder of Beatstars. Um, I do a little rap music too,
Yeah.
and been doing that since I was like 9 years old. But a full-time gig, being the founder and CEO of Beatstars, keeping me busy for the last 17 years.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy. Bro, I got to give you your flowers because I don't see enough people saying this, but you are like the godfather of selling beats online. You created an entire economy for not just producers, but for artists to be able to have access to dope production. So I just got to give you your flowers, bro. You have changed so many people's lives, from producers to artists, and the opportunities that you continue to bless the community with. Do you ever stop and just reflect on what has happened in the last 17 years since you started BeatStars?
yeah, man. I'll say first, Kato, thank you, man. But I wanted to give you your flowers first because I literally been there, watched your journey from the beginning. You're not only just a colleague, collaborator in this space, you become a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it's one of those relationships like I'm so grateful to have in this music industry because it's so rare to have like really genuine people, especially someone that's really transcended what it means to be just a music producer, the things that you've done in entrepreneurship, the things that you've done in education, how you represented the city of Atlanta, and all the legends and artists that you've collaborated with. People have nothing but amazing things to say and about you. And so when that happens, you are a reflection of the community and you make us look good just by making yourself look good. And
Thank you,
so
bro.
I'm just so proud of everything you've accomplished, man.
Thank you, bro. No, I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. And I owe a lot of it. The first time I heard of BeatStars was when I signed a Funk Volume. So probably around the time that we met for the first time. And I recognize BeatStars for I appreciate it on a different level. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I knew what the space was like before BeatStars even existed.
Yeah.
And so talk about that.
I remember I had to sell you on it kind of in a little way
because
because we were still early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just such a new thing.
Yeah.
And you were literally creating this whole economy for producers. It was just in its infancy. And so how often do you stop and just reflect on how far y'all have come?
I mean, I'm one of those guys. It's hard for me to kind of like pat myself on the back for all the things that I've done. I'm when you've built like a mission driven organization, it's always about tomorrow. It's always about the person that you didn't help make successful. I had an uncle, man, one time, this stuck with me forever. And he told me that the definition of success is how many people that you can help make successful with you along the way. It's not about just you, Thankfully, the company has been around for 17 years. I mean, not many companies have like survived through like 2 recessions. And I think we're going through another one right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that I have been able to kind of transform my love for making music into technology and entrepreneurship. Growing up in the Bay Area, technology is at the forefront. I grew up right when all the tech boom was happening in the Bay. I was building, custom computer workstations, buying pieces from all the manufacturers in the Bay and selling custom workstations at like 12, 13 years old to like neighbors and family members. So entrepreneurship has always been, and my family comes from a whole lineage of entrepreneurs. I don't know anyone in my family that doesn't own or operate their own business. Like I don't, that was always kind of the number one kind of route to go. Even though I enjoyed working within the industry, I worked at companies like InGrooves and so like I enjoyed like learning the ins and outs of kind of like how the music industry works. And I had my own label prior, so I was distributing music, I was marketing music, and so the early days really kind of like paved the way for all of the hardship I went through as an artist early in the 90s and the 2000s to not have to make those mistakes when I'm thinking about building a solution that's going to help people in the future, and I think, I'm proud of like what myself and the team have done over the years to build scalable tools to kind of help creators build businesses, become entrepreneurs. And that was something like, I think, being Palestinian, it's like you come from a place where your people, your family, it's full of death, destruction, and oppression, and people stepping on you, and not just apartheid in the physical format, but also financial apartheid. So like there was always like obstacles and things that my people have had to go through all the time, and I resonated when I was buying beats with producers on the internet in the 90s. I looked at them as like a fellow oppressed community. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, they're the ones that are being shunned in this whole thing. They're being used, they're being abused, and they're not having a seat at the table. And the whole game is controlled by like 5 or 6 producers that are just running radio up.
Yep.
And independent music wasn't really prominent. It was happening in the Bay Area where I grew up.
Yeah.
Seeing the 40s, the Shorts, the Richie Riches, the Spice Ones, the Mac Malls, the Drew Downs, the Mac Dre, like, independent music was like in the Bay.
Oh yeah.
That's all we did.
Yeah.
We didn't think about getting into the game and getting signed. That wasn't an option. We were like, nah, we press up our own CDs. We're going to go do these shows.
Yeah.
We're going to drop off CDs to these independent record stores on consignment. And so that independent-minded, technology-minded environment I grew up in is probably the catalyst for why Beatstars is here today, when you really think about it. Like, if I grew up in LA or New York, it probably would have been a platform that was, just stealing from producers.
Yeah. No, we don't want that.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's interesting.
Yes, I think the God works in very mysterious ways. I think he puts people into different in different places, in different locations, and experience different things, making way for, like, I would have never thought that we would have, paid out $400 million to creators, And then also, not just that's just on the platform.
Right. Right.
Just imagine the billions of dollars those songs that were made off the platform have contributed to the greater music industry.
There's a ripple effect.
Yeah, no one even talks about that.
Yeah.
So to think that a silly idea of connecting producers and artists and scaling the ability to make songs in a much more affordable and accessible way would contribute billions of dollars of new money into a music economy at the time in 2008, 2009, where it was a graveyard for the music industry, where you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Beatstars kind of kicked a brand new life for the game, and no one even like really cared. They care, but
Bro, that's why I got to say it. Like, you guys, Beatstars literally created an entire economy for producers, musicians, artists, right? Because they benefit too from having access to production. We're going to get into that because I want to ask you specifically about that. But I mean, producers now are making millions of dollars off of this platform, right?
Yeah.
Like,
some of them
are making 6 figures, 7 figures even. That's not uncommon anymore. And doing it all from their bedroom.
True.
Right?
True. Yeah.
Like,
from like the most obscure places too, sometimes from like the smallest little villages around the world.
Yeah.
And that's not normal. You know what I mean? Like, Go ahead.
Before you get into that,
yeah.
one story that stands out in my head is Oldtown Row.
Mm-hmm.
Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
He bought that beat from young Keo off his beat store on Beatstars, right? And how much, I know you've talking to Keo, interviewed him and talked about, broke down the whole situation and how it happened. How much did he buy that beat for?
Yeah, Keo told me it was like a buy one, get one free.
That's crazy.
It was like a $30 lease. Lil Nas was buying beats on the platform even prior to that beat too. So he had some songs on SoundCloud even before Oldtown Row that had beats from Beatstars as well too. And I don't know if he ever put some of those things out. I think he just put out a brand new single just recently.
Saw that.
Produced by a bunch of Beatstars producers.
Yeah.
And that was really cool to see that full circle. And I love that. You know, I love that, you know, so many artists have like started their careers buying beats on Beatstars, and some of them continue doing it too. Like Rod Wave, Bad Bunny, A Boogie with a Hoodie, Lil Nas X, like Doechii.
Yeah.
You know, all of these artists started their careers buying beats on Beatstars, and some of those songs that they initially like bought on the platform or licensed on a platform or discovered on a platform have turned into like billion stream songs, and the catalyst for them to get their record deals or the catalyst for them to build a name for themselves. And so not a lot of people know that.
Right.
Not a lot of people know that, you know, not only can you come on Beatstars and build your like most viral and most recognizable and notable hit song, but a lot of these artists, just like Lil Nas X, come back and collaborate with the producers even when they're at the peak of their career. That shows you that the music production and the talent on Beatstars from the community is not just when people try to separate the internet producers versus
beat producers.
type beat producers versus the industry producers. I'm sorry, these internet producers are the industry producers.
Highest level of production.
They're running the game.
Yeah.
They're running the game. You put a Kato on the track in the room compared to any other industry producer, Kato's going to outproduce anyone in that room. You know what I'm saying? No, it's true.
Y'all hear that?
It's true.
Y'all hear that, right?
The work ethic of an online entrepreneur is way different than a kid just like in LA jumping from session to session trying to make it. I'm sorry. No disrespect to the producers like jumping in from session to session where a lot of like magic happens. And I'm also seeing a lot of the internet producers actually jumping into that space because it's easy for them now. Mm-hmm. They're going to LA running the sessions because their work ethic is 1,000, because they had to create a sound from their bedroom for millions of people to discover and hear. Right. So they already had the opportunity to kind of build music that's going to resonate with millions of people. They were forced to. Right. They're sitting at home in little villages around the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like for them to grab the attention, they had to outproduce and outwork everybody. So that's why the internet producers right now are just running the game. There's not an album that comes out today in the music industry that doesn't contain production from a producer that really built and built their chops on the internet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, just the craziest one to me is Oldtown Row, because it's now diamond, right? I think it's gone 10 times platinum, and
I think it's the most streamed song in music history.
Yeah, which is
happened on the internet. You know what I mean?
So crazy. That
shout out to Keo. Shout out to Keo for like,
and it changed his life, right? Like he probably got a 7-figure publishing deal after that, and completely changed his life. For
sure. I'm sure he parlayed that into some amazing deals, built some great financial success out of it. Yeah. Again, he was a dude living outside of Amsterdam, right? In his mom's basement making beats. And for him to kind of blend and mesh two genres and two worlds and introduce kind of what is happening today when you think about the TikTok mashups and the things that are kind of driving, virality right now. Just for him to be kind of like the poster child of like, yo, just just make what you love to make. Just do something. Just have fun. Have fun making music.
Yeah.
And then other artists will kind of notice the fun that you're putting into the music, and they're going to attach to the fun, and it's going to turn into moments. And so I'm so proud of him, and me and him keep in touch all the time. He just dropped a whole new pack of beats on Beatstars just this week, and he's excited to re-engage with the community and go back to his roots and collaborate with more independent artists, the next Lil Nas X, the next creator that he can make a moment with. And so I love working with Kato. He's great.
What other songs stand out in your head that started with a beat that was found on Beatstars from a producer on there?
Yeah, I think I have a list here. Let me see.
I'm sure there's a lot.
I think there's a list here. It's hard to remember all of them.
I know.
I know that Young Lucas and Peso Pluma's La Bebe, which was a top 25 variety Billboard multi-billion stream song, like global massive hit.
That started on Beatstars.
Started on Beatstars.
Wow.
David's Romantic Homicide, multi-billion stream. David licensed the beats for Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, which are two of his like biggest songs, multi-billion streams as well too, and kicked off his whole career. I saw him playing at crazy festivals, and it's been dope to see. CJ Whoopty, everyone kind of knows that.
Oh yeah.
And that was of course the most recent one with Jello, Tweaker. Tweaker was his biggest song of 2025.
Yeah.
A bunch of Bad Bunny songs early in his career. Boss Man D-Lo, Big X The Plug, Playboy Cardi's HBA. Like there's just, the list there's probably thousands, dude. There's probably thousands. And it all is just a testament to the amount of like crazy talent that's on the platform. Beatstars is just a technology layer, right? Without the producers constantly uploading these beats, marketing these beats, putting them up for artists to put up. And of course, Beatstars does its part in attracting and advertising and bringing recording artists from all over the world to license and buy beats. I think there's the biggest song in India right now, Toba Toba, is like multi-billion streams as well too. It's the biggest anthem in India right now that was made on Beatstars. So there's been number ones throughout Sweden, Thailand, India, almost Italy. There's been number one hits. That's crazy to me. Number one hits in the country, in their country. So the biggest songs in those countries,
right?
So like an Oldtown Row version in all of these countries. There was a number one hit in China that was made on Beatstars before. It's awesome, man. I love it.
Global.
It's freedom.
Yeah,
it's liberation when you really think about it. And I think why it keeps happening is because of how we developed our relationship with the producer. They get paid at the point of transaction immediately in their merchant accounts. They get paid in their wallets and their bank accounts. They no one's digging in their pockets. This is customer. Beatstars was the first company to ever provide customer information back to the licensor, the producer.
Yeah.
So they have, addresses, phone numbers, licensing information from all of your customers. Beatstars was the first company in the world to introduce collaboration splits at the point of transaction, like first company in the world. So like when it came to decentralization and financial freedom and entrepreneurship and building actual real digital businesses on the internet, Beatstars was the first in the fucking game to do it. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm not taking credit for all of the, everything else that's happening, because without the music, nothing else happens. But I will take credit for creating a disruptive business model that's never existed in the game.
Yeah.
That has literally liberated creators all over the world to really do this thing.
Bro, that was the point of transaction thing for me when I first got on Beatstars. It was like, wait, what do you mean? Anyone can go onto my beat store, pay for a beat, and I get it immediately? Like it hits my PayPal account immediately?
Yeah.
I will tell y'all, there's no better feeling than when you're laying up in bed or having lunch and you get the Beatstars notification, the cash register sound pop up on your phone, and see that someone just bought one of your beats. Like
it's a blessing.
that didn't happen before Beatstars came on the scene. Like we would have to go out, you know, try to get these 1 in a million type placements, and we'd have to wait months and months and months for the label to cut us a check. And then we'd have to wait a year sometimes to get our first royalty check. So it's like, you guys really disrupted the game by making that point of transaction thing, creating that economy for producers, you know?
Yeah, it killed me. It killed me that producers had to wait a year for their checks.
Yeah.
And then also,
I'm still waiting on checks.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what? Why? You know? Yeah, it was literally like, it was a point of contention. It was something that I was super passionate about. And it just felt too oppressive. It felt too controlled. It felt too undermining. It felt too disrespecting to a creator. Like, why are we not partnering with creators? Why are we not empowering them? Why are we, you know, it's like you still, you know, I honestly, I feel bad for artists. I feel bad for recording artists. Like, they're still living in the box of Spotify. They're still living in the box of Apple Music, where they don't even know who the fuck their fans are, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, I'll be honest with you. I stopped really doing music commercially once streaming came out. I was having fun selling CDs. You know, I was having fun selling CDs. I had end caps in Japan selling 10, 20,000 CDs, making $17 a pop. That shit was amazing. Not to say that streaming is completely bad and it's like had such a big negative effect, but it really only benefited the big catalog owners. When you really think about it, like, it really benefited the people, the big labels that had a ton of catalog, where if they're making micro pennies off of millions of songs, they're fine with that, right? But the independent artist that was trying to make a livelihood off of music, that shit was suicide.
Yeah.
Streaming is suicide for recording artists. It's suicide. You're not building nothing. You're not building nothing. I've made more money, and I know artists too. I've made more money selling MP3s on Bandcamp. Than it would take to get millions and millions of streams on these streaming services. And I know who my fans are. I can remarket to them. I can build an intimate relationship with them. I can't do that shit on Spotify. They don't even tell me who my fans are. You know what I mean? And they've built this, like, you know, this closed environment where now I'm so dependent on them. I'm so dependent on the social media services. I'm so dependent on everyone else to engage and build a business for myself, where it's to the point where it's like, we got artists out here posting 10 pieces of content a day just to grab your attention. They're literally like slaving away for attention. They're spending 99% of their time making content, building gimmicky commercial like pieces of content to grab your attention, rather than spending time on making timeless music. That's why the music right now is just so digestible. It's in and out. You listen to it a couple times and then that's it. Because the artists don't have time. They don't have time to spend time on making music that's gonna like resonate for lifetimes or for generations or for decades, because they're fucking making TikToks all day long trying to get your attention. You know? And so it's the game has changed, and I really like I feel for the artists so much, because I'm an artist, man. I started in this game as a rapper, man. I've been rapping since I was 9 years old. And I wish that maybe one day we can build a comparable platform like Beatstars for the recording artists, where we put the power back into their hands, the exact same thing that we did for producers. And I think we can do it. And hopefully, you know, we could put that on the roadmap one day, because it really breaks my heart that artists can't really build something sustainable for themselves. And it's only for the top few percent that are really making a dent in this game. And it's just not made for us anymore. You know?
I was, so I recently interviewed Sam Duboff, who's the head of policy and marketing at Spotify.
Yeah.
We sat down for a long 1 hour conversation. I asked him a bunch of questions in regards to streaming, their policies, royalty rates, playlisting, just on and on, right? And when I started to when I dropped that episode, that interview, a lot of people were cooking me in the comments because they thought I was bought and sold to Spotify, and they thought that I had sold out. Meanwhile, like, my whole thing was I wanted to go up there and just have a conversation and just like understand what the business model is, right? Because if you want to change the system, you have to understand how the system works. You can't do that from the sidelines. I wanted to go straight to the source, really understand like how that business works. Does it work for creators? Does it work against creators? And I walked away from that interview really kind of having a new perspective of streaming in general, their role in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Right. I think too many artists, songwriters, producers, whatever, place too much emphasis on streaming and not enough on D2C. Building that relationship, like you said, with your audience, with your fans, collecting the emails, creating experiences for them, selling your music direct on platforms like Even or Bandcamp, selling your merch direct. Like, I think so many artists are sleeping on the D2C. And it's like,
but dude, how many D2C platforms have risen up over the last like 15 years since streaming has come, and they've come and gone, right?
Yeah.
It's not that those ideas are, not feasible. They are feasible, but it takes an artist to have a whole new skill set of, entrepreneurial skills, business skills, to understand what an email is. How do you automate this? How do you build relationships? How do you build, exclude, like, there's just so many other skill sets that they need to learn. That's the same thing in the producer world. Like, not every, like, the most talented producer in the world can come on Beatstars, upload a beat once a month, and we'll see no success. Like, we've had Grammy-winning, top-selling producers come on a platform thinking they're just going to drop their beats and they're going to make a living on Beatstars. No, baby.
Doesn't work.
It don't play like that, because if you don't develop all of the attributes of being a successful entrepreneur, you're just not going to make it.
Correct.
You're just not going to make it. And same thing for artists.
Same thing.
And so, there needs to be like a school or something. But let's get back to the streaming stuff. I agree. Listen, the streaming economy has contributed more revenue to the music business than probably ever before.
Right.
Okay, it has. Now, because now you've got a sticky subscription, so fans are paying on average, at least $40 a year on music or more than in the past. And during the CD era, it was probably less on average. Fans were spending money within the music economy. But the difference is, when that fan 20 years ago was buying that CD, they were paying that artist that $20. They were paying that artist that $20. So even if they contributed only $20 to the music economy back then, they contributed directly to that artist, right? Well, the artist got majority of the money. And the difference with streaming today, it's built on this whole like market share economy of how money is distributed. So it's like, even though I listen to Tupac 1 million times a day on my account, right? I listen to only Tupac, right? But my $10 a month doesn't get divvied up all to Tupac's estate or his family or his label, in terms of earnings. That $10 gets chopped up in so many different ways because of how the deals were negotiated with all the labels. And of course, there's some weird stuff there because they're shareholders of those companies. Is kind of weird. So it's kind of like Spotify is not behaving as the utility like a Tower Records used to be. It's not behaving like a utility like a water service does for your home. It's behaving a little bit weird in terms of how these deals are structured. But I will say that probably Spotify had no choice.
Right.
Spotify had no choice. If they wanted to onboard all of the music, all the copyrights from all the labels and from all the distributors onto the platform, they had to conform to a model that only worked out for them.
Yep.
Not for the independent artist.
Yep.
Not for us. We should have a separate Spotify subscription for independent artists. There should be a whole separate category, a whole separate catalog where it's not part of that market share kind of like world where if I'm listening to Tupac, my money is going straight to him. Don't share my $10 with all these other artists and all these other people. You know, don't do that because it's not fair.
But this is where
right?
I see the D2C model coming.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And artists have to build, right, until we have a platform that's as big and powerful and rich as Spotify.
Yeah.
That caters more towards the creative community. I really look at Spotify like a consumer product, right? And it's a completely different business model than a Tower Records, right? You walk into Tower Records, you pay them $20 for the album, and that's it, right? That's, you listen to that music as much as you want to without paying $1 more.
Right.
That's not what the streaming model is. And so I had to go to Spotify to really understand that it's a completely different model. To me, it's more friendly to the consumer, right? Who doesn't want all the music in the world for $10 a month?
Yeah.
And so what you're talking about, I see that becoming what every independent artist and maybe even major artists to an extent should be doing, is like building that infrastructure to go direct to their fans to be able to capitalize on that. And so,
100%.
You know,
I mean, listen, man, I'm building websites and applications with AI nowadays. There's no reason why recording artists are not going and building their own direct to consumer platform right now with just a few prompts. You know what I mean? You know? Yeah. So I think, some artists that do have the leverage of a fan base, that do have, you know, a large email list or a phone number list where they can direct consumers directly to their platforms, not directing people to an exclusive release on like Spotify or anywhere else where you're just driving subscriptions for them. Like drive those subscriptions for yourself. You know what I mean?
It's a small business.
Even if it's not your whole catalog, maybe it's just some stuff. Maybe you're just dropping a few songs here and there directly for your fans where they can't get anywhere else, or maybe for an exclusive period of time.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Where, you know,
but still,
they gotta get creative.
I would still make it available on all streaming platforms because that's where the majority of people are consuming music. So why? Like, to me, it's all about distribution, right?
100%.
Artists, producers, songwriters, whatever you do, creatives, you have to have distribution. If you combine mass distribution with good marketing, you're winning.
Yeah.
You are winning big time. And so, you know, I just think it's smarter for artists to adopt the infrastructure of D2C, but also make your music available to people in China to be able to stream, you know? And make it discoverable to those people too. So,
I mean, the only reason I'm really passionate about this is just, I just want to see more sustainability. I don't want to see great artists come in and then get, you know, kind of like deflated because they didn't see the success they needed. And then we missed out on the next Tupac, or we missed out on the next Kendrick, or we missed out on these next like greats, you know what I mean? And because they didn't see a path forward and there was no sustainability, and it takes, you know how hard it is to get millions of streams? Like, you know, it's like, it's not easy, man.
It's really, really difficult.
Yeah.
But then again, like, being a music artist never was an easy career path.
Yeah.
You know, there was never a point in time, unless you were those E40s or, you know, one of the independent Bay Area artists who were selling CDs out their trunk. It's never been an easy career path at any point in history. So,
but when you think about the approach and the opportunity for like execution, like I can envision selling 10,000 albums. I can get, if I do my job right, I can sell 10,000 albums, you know, in these streets, going city to city, touring, doing little shows, selling them at venues. But getting 10 million streams to just pay my bills,
it's true.
Barely. If that, like, that's almost unimaginable for any recording artist. It's, you know, it's unattainable, you know? So like, that's what scares me, is these unattainable goals that artists have in front of them. It's so overwhelming, you know? But at the end of the day, I think artists and producers, we're going to make music because we love making music, regardless of whether there's money involved or not. We're going to keep doing it. But, you know, for those that, you know, have the talent, have the work ethic, it's just very hard. It's very hard for them to
I want to ask you something. Did you see the recent controversy with the Pink Dread song from DDG and Blackboy Max?
Yeah,
And then
I did.
the producers
Oh God.
were asking $300,000 for the beat.
Right.
And I guess, to be fair, it was from one of the managers,
Yeah.
quote unquote,
Yeah.
of the producers. But like,
Right.
you observing that situation, what would you have done differently? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, listen, everybody has a right to put a price on their art, how they like, right? Everyone has the right to demand and feel what they're worth. But it seems like this manager is not really well versed in the music industry and doesn't understand like back end royalties and points and publishing and masters. And it seemed like they were just trying to get all of it done up front in a way where, again, I feel bad for the artist again a little bit. Like how can even some of the biggest artists in the world, how can they afford a $300,000 license? It's just like it's not realistic. It's not realistic, right? So I think there's a little bit of education on the manager's part that needs to start happening. He needs to maybe talk to some people. Come talk to us. Come talk to our legal team. We'll tell you how these deals are structured, where you could still get that $300,000 just in a different way, just so you can make sure that this moment is not taken away from that producer and from this artist. Because now you're risking something culturally being removed from the ecosystem that fans are dying for, or fans want, or or you're kind of robbing the music world of like a moment that you're robbing the fans. Like at the end of the day, what you guys making music for? Is it just for that $300,000 check? Listen, there are creative ways to get paid just like that in different ways. With the labels, they're always open for negotiation. There's always ways to kind of license and make things work. But that is not sustainable, like demanding that $300,000. I feel bad for the producer who's not going to have that moment. I don't know if that song got negotiated and worked out. I have no clue. But you kind of took a moment away from that producer by advising him to do something that's totally not the norm in the music industry. So you're robbing the producer, robbing the artist from a moment, from their relationship as well, from like collaborating in the future where they can be making more hits, especially if they really like vibe with each other. And then you're robbing the fans. And I think when you do that, it's just bad business.
So how would you have structured that deal? If you were managing that producer and you were, talking to the artist or the artist manager, what would you have proposed?
Yeah. I would have negotiated directly with the label that's putting it out, right? Make sure that you start with a real industry standard type of template of an agreement that included master points for the producer. Sure, you can ask for some of those master royalties up front and then demand like accounting in the future, so there's a consistent flow of master royalties. I don't think that's wrong for a producer to demand a little bit of master royalties. And of course, they're publishing royalties, right? That 50% of producing the song could be leveraged into in advance on an admin situation where you probably could have got a 6-figure number from us, from Beatstars Publishing, or from someone else, and we would make sure that that producer gets paid. Now, and then you have the longevity and the life cycle of that song. Every day, a viral song like that is not on Spotify or not on a streaming service or not available commercially. You're just losing out you're losing out on the momentum. You're losing out on the opportunity to rack up hundreds of millions of streams, tens of millions of streams, and really create a super big value proposition around that piece of intellectual property that could be parlayed into sync licensing. Like we just in the last like 2 days, Uber, Dunkin' Donuts, and a couple other big brands sync license over multi 6-figure licensing deals from us on songs in our catalog. And that could have been one of those moments. That could have been one of those moments. So brands are looking for moments that are like viral and like they have these like, where it really penetrates, the social media world. And they want to license those for their commercials, for their online ads, for their, so every day they cut off the legs of that song, they're missing out on even way more than that $300,000 that he's demanding for. So
Yeah, it's a long game.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
long game. It's not, so I don't know. I would have played that completely differently. He should sign up for CRA. Beatstars has a service called Creator Rights Agency for all of our members. It's the first in the game as well too. It's a full service legal, accounting, and management service on demand when you need it. It's not locking you up into long-term contracts, long-term deals. It's in situations just like this where a massive hit happens or a big sync license is about to happen, and the producer's like, I need legal representation. I need someone to help me kind of facilitate, negotiate, make sure that I'm getting the best deal possible. And all of our members have access to the service. It's called Creator Rights Agency.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's one thing that I always hear from a lot of new and upcoming producers is like, this artist put out the song, I should get 50% because
Mhm.
I made the beat. The beat is half the music.
Mhm.
The artist obviously did the lyrics, but like there's this narrative, I think, in the producer community that you should get 50% of a song. Meanwhile, artists, especially independent artists, right? Ones who are not signed, who don't have big major label budgets behind them.
Right.
Artists are pushing back and being like, yo, you're not helping with the marketing,
For
the
sure.
promotion. I'm putting up money for the music video. I'm doing all the TikTok, the Instagram, the content. Like I'm doing everything that you don't to
Mhm.
push this song out there in front of fans. That's why you're not getting 50% of my
Mhm.
record, right? What are your thoughts on that? Like,
Yeah. So when you say 50% of the record, you mean like 50% of the master, like 50-50 deal across the board
I
on
think
all royalties, right?
this is where a lot of the confusion happens because producers who are not educated in the business of music don't
Yeah.
understand that there's the publishing and there's the sound recording.
Right.
They just think there's one pie
Yeah.
and they deserve 50% of it because they made the music, right?
Yeah.
But that's not clearly how it works.
No, that's not how it works. No. I mean, in the music publishing side, I totally agree. Producers should be receiving, half of the composition they created. So that's fair game. I think that's industry standard. 50% of the composition on the music publishing side should go to the producer.
On the publishing.
On the publishing. That's industry standard. And again, that's the smaller part of the pie.
Yes.
So artists shouldn't be afraid of that. Like artists should be, don't think of 50% of the publishing, meaning that's like, I think it's only like 20% of the royalties.
Spotify told me that
It's
out
like-
of the $10 billion that they paid out to the industry, 80% went to the sound recording, 20% went to publishing.
Exactly. So the majority of the revenue is going to come from the sound recording, from the master side, right? Now, should producers be demanding 50% of that? I've seen it happen. Listen, I've seen it happen where artists and producers have an agreement where they kind of release music together as kind of where
Partnership.
partnership.
Yeah.
That producer is investing in the production for free, mixing, mastering, videos, distribution, marketing, and they're a partner in the process.
Yep.
Now, when there's a partnership in place, and I think, Kato, you've done some of that stuff.
I have.
You've done that stuff where you've kind of worked directly with an artist where you're an actual featured artist as well too, where you're an artist on the song because you're putting in a lot of work.
I'm putting up money
Yeah.
on the videos. I'm going half on literally everything
Yeah.
with the artist.
Yeah.
So I show up 50% of the effort
Yeah.
is on my end. So that's when it makes
Totally
sense.
justified. Totally justified when it's really a partnership, right?
Yeah.
Where producers are behaving more than just production, right?
Right.
Than just giving someone a beat. If you're giving just someone a license, a beat they just downloaded on your Beatstars store and you're asking for 50% of the sound recording, that's robbery. You should not do that.
Yeah.
No. And recording artists should never agree to that. They should never sign a deal to do that. It's actually very abusive, and I don't condone any of that work. I would, like, if someone did that to me as an artist, I would not buy a beat from that person. I would go somewhere else and get production elsewhere. But a 5% master, 3%, 2%, 1%, sometimes when the producer's doing some extra stuff, or maybe they're giving away the production for free, there's some, some perks that they're giving that artist where they don't have to invest in a $5,000 exclusive or $3,000 exclusive, and that producer's kind of providing a little bit more service. Then there could be some justification as well too.
Right.
And we've negotiated on major hits on the platform, masters up to sometimes 5% with the majors for producers, and it's been acceptable, and it's been great for the producers.
Yeah. What are the most popular type beats on the platform right now? Like what artist search wise?
Yeah. You know what's crazy? God rest his soul. Juice WRLD continues to be a very highly searched term on the platform for a type beat. Drake is always still a top dog. Trap, guitar, sad. There's a bunch of like tags that are just like general type of styles as well too, that year over year just stand the test of time. Dark, there's like some general terms that just stand the test of time. Boom bap, these are just genres or type beats that just will last forever.
Right.
And if you kind of carve out your niche on some of these genres, like you can have like a really great living for the next 10 years, 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But then there are some like tags that, jump to the top because a big album just came out, like a Kendrick album or Cardi.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's like, there's tags that kind of fluctuate in trends. They come in and out dependent on when like an artist becomes more relevant during that time period. But yeah, I mean, there's tons. And then, what's awesome, we've been tracking lately, and I'm going to put out a report on this for our professional members. I'm going to do an exclusive report on the largest growth of percentage on tag searches for genres or subgenres or tags that had the biggest jump year over year. And like we noticed last year, the biggest jump was Amapiano beats, piano ballad, even jerk beats are back, kind of like that style of jerk music. So there's some styles of music that had over 100% growth, 1,000% growth. And those are going to be kind of like the next big genres. And that's what's cool about Beatstars, man. We get to see the trends in music before they become big pop commercial success. I
feel like I get asked about Afro beats a lot.
Afro beats is that's like
huge.
One of those ones that is just sticky as hell. Like it's not going to go nowhere. And I love those beats.
Me too.
I love those beats.
Me too. I need to get into Afro beats.
Yeah,
bro. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's the new R&B kind of in a way where it's like it's not going to go nowhere.
Yeah, and it's global.
Mm-hmm.
It's global.
Yeah.
You told me about a couple different producers who lived in foreign countries outside of the US who are on Beatstars, making multi six figures selling their beats online. Right. And I think you told me about one artist who had a bunch of money just sitting in a bank account because if he withdrew that money, he was afraid of what the government would do to him. Is that a real story? I gotta
I think it was. I'm not gonna say who, but
yeah, you don't have to say names.
Some governments are a little bit shadier than others, right? In this world.
Yeah.
And they're always sniffing around for their tax.
Yep.
Always sniffing around. And if big lumps of money sometimes crosses through these banks, and it's like a small country and it's like a small territory, it becomes very like intimate and personal. And so like some producers in these foreign countries get scared when a lot of money passes their way because they're like, is the government going to come after me? Or they don't have a lot of experience with accounting because like accounting service, like they've never come across this kind of money before. So we've helped so many producers like find like accounting services, global accounting services, or management or financial folks in those territories that can help navigate how to set up a company in their territory or in a nearby country that still allows them to operate and do things, and where it's much more beneficial for them in terms of tax, and it's legal, and it's, where they're not afraid like to pull the money out. And so yeah, we do all that stuff in the background. People don't know, man. We're like, we're helping
Full
creators
service,
all
bro.
over the world, because yeah, when you get $1 million publishing check into your account and you're from this little village and you're like,
I mean, even if
what
you're
do I
from the
do?
US, I'd
Yeah.
be scared of like Uncle Sam coming to take my
That's
money.
true. That's true.
So it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But
Yeah.
that's so crazy
Yeah.
that producers living in remote regions of the world that we wouldn't even think are like hotbeds for music production or rap or hip hop or trap
I got a
are
cool
making
stat for you, actually.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I got a cool stat for you, and it's pretty cool. I really, because me international. I love the world.
Yeah.
I think the global music community is what brings us together, and like global collaboration and connection and cultures in different places is what makes this process so fun and beautiful for me.
Yeah.
When I go to Brazil, or next week I'm going to Asia and I'm going to go meet the community, and it's just like, when I go to these places, Beatstars just means so much more to these communities, because we are their connection to the industry in a lot of different countries, and they really rely on us and depend on us for, their livelihood. And so one really, really cool, ever since we launched Beatstars Publishing, which is such an amazing company, amazing venture that, we partnered with Sony Music Group and Sony Music Publishing. One of the awesome things that we've found, and I've always known this, and I've always kind of had a hunch about this, because some of my favorite producers, some of the beats that I write to and rap on, or I recorded to on my albums and things like that, were from producers from outside of the US. We're producers from outside. Sometimes there's some producers in Europe that will whoop everyone's ass everywhere. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like, or anywhere, Asia, Indonesia, anywhere. Like, and so you'll find this like really interesting. 70% of our publishing payouts, which is, now, I don't know, close to over $40 million, I think, or something, right? Where our 70% of our publishing payouts are actually going to producers outside of the US.
Wow.
70%. And it just shows you that the global music community is alive, vibrant, and those guys are contributing to the US music economy, because a lot of those songs are majority getting those streams in the US. So the artist and the song making is happening mostly like in the US, but the production and the beats and the viability and the commerciality of those beats are coming from producers outside of the US.
The Tweaker song, that's from
Russia, Georgia.
Wow.
Georgia.
Who would have thought, bro?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
So, Beatstars.
We need to step it up.
Yeah. US producers. Yeah.
We need
US
to
producers.
step it up.
US producers kind of falling behind a little bit, but not.
But I do feel like we kind of set the trends for the sounds and no?
Maybe. I don't know.
They're catching up.
The internet's a small place. It's just kind of like the NBA, right? You think about it, like the NBA being run by these Europeans, man, or these foreign players from Africa. Like, they're learning the game and they're elevating it. So I think that's what's happening in music production right now. Yeah.
I want to ask you something. I saw this video on TikTok of a producer breaking down how he made $100,000 off of a song, right?
Mm-hmm.
The song had 177 million streams. And as he started to break down the numbers, the math was just not mathing. Like, and you realize how little producers actually make, especially when we talked about the publishing only being 20% of the revenue.
Yeah.
Do you think it's still worth it for producers to play the placements game?
Yes, I do, but they need to balance it out with their own direct-to-consumer licensing. Like, it can't just be the placement game. You got to be multifaceted. You got to do what you're doing, Kato. Building audiences and leveraging and monetizing your videos and playing the media
brand
game.
deals,
sponsorships, licensing. Yeah, like it's much more than just the publishing. Yeah, the publishing is racking up pennies, man. It's collecting up pennies. I'm not sure like where those 100 million streams came from, what territory. Every territory pays differently. So like if it was mostly US streams, that's going to be a higher royalty rate for those 100 million streams. And that usually doesn't sound right, I don't think, for the publishing. He should have made more, but maybe those streams came from territories where the royalty rates are much lower. And that's why he probably saw. And what's his cut? Or their
collaborators.
Or collaborators, like what's his cut? Does he have 50% of the publishing? Like there's a lot of different variables and factors to break down there. And it's not just like one size fits all, you know? So there's money to be made in publishing. I know it for a fact. You know, I see it every day. Like April 1st is coming and millions of dollars about to be deposited into all of our creators' wallets from publishing earnings. And, you know, somebody's got another crazy stat is, you know, Beatstars, you know, the marketplace earners and the pro page earners used to be like the top earning members on the platform, but now publishing members on Beatstars, some of them are earning more than the top marketplace earners now on the platform. So publishing is becoming such a big priority for music producers, and it's becoming, you know, when you really think about it, the total available market for publishing is much larger than licensing beats online. You know, you're talking a publishing industry that's $50-60 billion globally a year, right? That's a huge pie. Yeah. So if the online, internet, and independent community can just capture 1%, 2% of that $50-60 billion, which I really believe is totally attainable if people really took publishing serious in terms of making sure you're registering all your songs, making sure you got your splits corrected with all the artists, and you know what your ownership is, and you're registered with a PRO, and you're taking it serious. I think if every producer took their publishing serious, I think the earnings on BeatStars publishing would be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. They just don't understand the concept, and they think that publishing is just like this foreign thing that they just can't wrap their heads around. And so we're trying to put together a bunch more education and learning around how important it is to have claim over your intellectual property. It's yours. It's your house. It's your house. You're not going to claim your house. That's your house. Yeah. You have other people live in your house, and then those royalties expire at some point as well too. They go into a black box, right, in the US. And so if you don't take ownership over your house and register, put your name on the title, on the deed, you're gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out. So it's really important, whether it's one stream or a million streams, it's really, really important to claim the ownership of your intellectual property, no matter what. It's something that is uniquely yours. And it's, you know, it comes out of your brain. Like what, you know, it's like, to me, it's like such a cool concept, you know, where you can build an asset that just came out of your fucking, while you're in the shower humming, you know what I mean? Like you're something that's recognized by copyright law in the Supreme Court, like things that you can actually like fight for and own. Like, think about that.
Crazy example, right? I just released a record. I'm not going to say who it was with, because I'm not sure if that's legally, you know, but I recently released a record. I did an interpolation of a very popular sample. Changed a couple notes, you know, but it still sounded similar enough, but we thought that we could skate under the radar and without having to pay the publishers of the OG sample.
Right.
Couple days after we released the song, the publishers reached out to the label. They're like, we need 50% just for the idea of what you did on this production. Right. So even me taking the original idea, flipping it a little bit, changing some of the notes, you know, making it sound a little bit different. Yeah. If we went to court over this, we'd probably lose. Yeah. And they would take a bunch of money, bunch of the publishing. Yep. So yeah, publishing is like, it's a real asset if you understand how that works.
Let me play that back to you though. Like, it's still worth sometimes doing those kind of projects, even if you're not making any publishing on it, because you may get recognized by millions of people, millions of artists on Spotify, millions of followers on Instagram. It becomes a viral moment that you can parlay into a remarketing of another product or another release that's original. So sometimes if you have such a cool, unique sample idea, I would still do it. I would still put it out, And I mean, come on, last night we were in the studio, producers were in each room, they made 10 beats in like 2 hours each, like each producer, so it's like you guys have infinite ideas, infinite possibilities that you guys can make music with. Sometimes it's cool to not limit your creativity and do some of those things where maybe you don't have ownership of it. Who cares? But you may have the name recognition on it. Give them the publishing, give them the ownership. But it turns into a viral moment. It turns into a crazy mashup. A crazy artist gets on it. It turns into a moment, and you're touring, and now you're selling merch, and now you're building a new audience that you can remarket to. Sometimes it's worth it to do some of those things.
Because attention is currency,
yeah,
too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this is dope, man. Let's real quick, last question. Let's talk about Draft Class.
Yeah.
So
Draft
Class. What is it? How do people get involved? Where are we at with that?
Well, Draft Class is honestly, we've been doing song contests forever. And I remember we, even helped power some of your song contests back in the day. You had some crazy ideas on putting together like song contests, and you discovered some like amazing artists through those contests. And I'm thankful and grateful that you're part of this one with us. And I was like, the team was like, okay, let's do a song contest. I'm like, guys, we can only do it with Kato. Like there's like, this is his wheelhouse, and he's kicked off so many artists' careers, discovered so many people, genuine guy, is not like digging into these artists' pockets. He's all about providing opportunities. He's the perfect person to partner with on this contest. And so at the end of the day, I named to you like all of these massive artists that started their careers on Beatstars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And does Beatstars ever get not the credit, but the recognition a little bit, right? We don't. But listen, I'm still thankful for big artists that come in, license a beat, and then kick off their whole careers and do it massive well. It's a proud moment for all of us, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, in this world of attention and credit and recognition, like, billions and billions of dollars contributed to the music industry, and I've never got a Billboard Power Player. I've never got any recognition or awards, and it's not that I want it,
right.
But it's more about how can we just bring more light to the creators and to the process and the magic of the platform, right? And so, Draft Class is going to be like an annual competition, song competition, where Beatstars will invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in two unknown artists, and we will, with Kato, with advice and mentorship, and then also the Beatstars A&R team, the publishing team, and the marketing team, we're going to help work with a super, super talented artist from the ground up, help executive produce, help put them in the right room, A&R their projects, really develop talent, like the old days used to be, and see where it goes. If we lose money, we lose money. Who cares? At the end of the day, I just know there's just so many great, talented artists that don't have the business sense, that don't have the support, don't have the resources. Like, maybe this is a great opportunity for us as Beatstars that has, a team of 70 people all around the world and partners and resources, where maybe we can help kick off an artist's career directly from the platform and change their life, and maybe help negotiate a better deal for them when they start, going into the wild. And so I think at the end of the day, it just comes from the love of just like, I want to find the next Kendrick. I want to find the next Doechii on the platform. I want to find the next Bad Bunny. Like, I've been listening to beats for 17 years, and artists will say, I know who's hot, and who's hot too. And, Ali Gotti won one of our contests, that we did. It was a Rhyme Star. We had a Rhyme Stars contest. Ali Gotti won one of our contests and got signed, and so like, so many great artists have been discovered on the platform. I just want to keep that tradition and not sleep on it. Like, I want to make it a thing every year. Maybe we turn it into a reality TV show. Maybe we turn it, I don't know, Draft Class. Maybe it becomes a thing. At the end of the day, it's just an investment back into the culture, just to help artists that are looking for support get the support they need, and hopefully, make some historic, memorable music moments. Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, bro, I really appreciate you, man. Like, you're truly a legend. Thank you for being a champion of the music community. Thank you for being a supporter of the producer community, and just providing so many opportunities that we wouldn't have if it wasn't for you and the platform and the staff at Beatstars, and just all around, like, very grateful to know you as a friend, a businessman, entrepreneur, artist. And it was dope finally getting to sit down with you and interview you instead of you interviewing me for once. You know what I mean? So yeah, I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. It was great hanging out with you this weekend, these last couple days. I always want to give credit to the Most High, always, no matter what.
Praise God.
Nothing happens without His wave of the magic hand. He puts us in so many great positions. He gives us so many signs. He gives us so many responsibilities, and we have to act on them. You know, there's a reason why, you know, we go through all the things that we go through. Nothing happens on accident. Nothing. I don't believe in anything, good or bad. There's a lesson in it. I'm grateful to represent the best music community in the world. I think that we are like one of the only places where it's still about the essence, it's still about the culture, it's still about just bending sounds. It's still about the cream rising to the top. It's not this fake ass fabricated world of social media or streaming. And just like, it's about real connection. It's about real collaboration. And you've been a part of that journey since day one. And to do that with you and the rest of the community is just, man, it gives me life, and it keeps me going after 17 years. And I'm still excited about like what's next, what the future is, what the future holds. And
likewise,
thank you for having me, and congrats on all your success, brother. You the best, man. And me and Kato are moving to Asia next year.
Next week, actually.
Next week. Set up Beatstars Asia out there. No, but congrats on everything.
Thank you, bro.
And,
Thank you, bro.
Thanks for having me, brother.
I appreciate you, man. Love you, man.
Love you too.
Hell yeah.
All right, brother.